And thanks, Christina. Thank you very much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and to have the opportunity to participate here. So yeah, my name is Joanne Fischlin, and I head the Legal and Government Affairs at Microsoft in Dubai for the Gulf region. It's all started with basically Shaq first getting in touch with actually our CTO to cover one of the sessions that Forte Market had in mind. And then I got looped in, and I think Shaq and I started dreaming really big until we pretty much had a little Microsoft army supporting us to kind of help deliver that program. I think, in my mind, the reason why this program is so amazing and why it had to really snowball quickly was that, first of all, the certification is a first of its kind. The second is Forte Market's approach to deliver a really hands-on program is unprecedented. I mean, I've been a lawyer for more than 20 odd years. I've spent a lot of time doing a lot of trainings, but this really touched a chord in me because being in a tech company, and first of all, I was not a techie when I joined Microsoft. So, the divide is big, and the gap that we legal and compliance professionals now have to kind of fill to ensure that we remain relevant and we can still properly advise our customers is something that is not to be overlooked. And I think this program really helps us bridge that gap. Then I think, it really aligned super well with Microsoft's mission, which is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And Shaq, I think you mentioned this, legal and compliance professionals were very often not on the priority list of our IT teams. And I'm not criticizing here, but ultimately, if there are big technology innovations that need to happen, for instance, if you're in-house, you're probably not going to be the first one on. So I also thought that, Microsoft's tools, its platform, its solutions would actually be really relevant and familiar to a very large majority of students, just because most of us already use a wide range of Microsoft stuff. And then finally, I basically knew that there were people and partners out there that would be definitely willing to give us their time and share their knowledge with our community, asking pretty much nothing in return. I'm privileged at Microsoft to meet a lot of partners in our ecosystem that really have amazing solutions that are tailor-made even to our industry. And, that can make you so much more productive, so much more efficient, so much more knowledgeable. So I was also super, super excited to ensure that those guys would have a chance to talk to us and to help us build up that skill around technology. So maybe I'm going to tell you a little bit about my module here. So I'm going to talk to you about responsible AI. And I guess it's two big words, and they become yet bigger when together. So, what is responsible AI? Well, responsible AI is designing and using AI in a way that people can actually trust it. And it has to be done in accordance with ethical principles that are really deeply rooted in important and timeless values. And so, why is it important? Well, a couple of years back, or, when we were all talking about software, I don't think ethics were really top of mind. You'd buy a software off the shelf, you'd do something with it, and it pretty much, once you turned your computer off, you knew that nothing else would happen. AI comes with a large set of other challenges, right? And it's a living tool. And I think that what's important for us legal and compliance professionals is to understand that even if you're not a tech company, if your organization adopts AI, there's a responsibility to make sure that there are a couple of guardrails to make sure that you use that AI responsibly. You'll probably even end up in a situation where people are actually going to start developing AI tools within your organization. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's already happening in some organizations. So all of that, I think, kind of makes those very important questions pop up. So going back to the module, what are we going to try to cover here? And look, I think first, before you go into what is responsible AI, there's an important step, and that's trying to get an understanding of what ecosystem AI depends on and how the environment affects the technology. Again, AI does not work in its silo. It depends on a huge amount of factors, and kind of having an understanding of what will make AI great and what might make AI not so great is a very good stepping stone in that module. Then we'll touch on understanding the ethical considerations that are triggered by AI. We'll have a workshop. The idea is really to get this super interactive. I want to hear about you. At Microsoft, we've been thinking about this for a while, of course, but the one thing that we are convinced about is that nobody has the answers. And I see this certification also as an opportunity to build on great minds and great brainstorming with all of you. So kind of going down to this ethical space, which is, we all know about business ethics, but when you go down the route of human values and those kinds of ethical principles, it's a whole new world that opens to you. So I'm hoping that we can tackle some of those. We'll also touch on what we call sensitive uses of AI. So the technology is used for an area of different solutions and applications. And some of them might be more tricky than others. So if you think about, for instance, facial recognition, what are the challenges that come with facial recognition? If your company wants to start using a facial recognition program, what is it that we kind of have to look out for? So we're going to try to touch on a couple of those sensitive use cases. We'll talk about live scenarios. I mean, if you read the press, the chances are that you will likely see some of those stories pop up on how AI has maybe had adverse consequences on maybe a certain set of people, minorities, because of data bias, all of that stuff. So, the more sensitive the use case, the more important it is to look at those items. We'll also try to, identify the necessary safeguards to responsibly adopt AI. And again, you don't have to be in the design space, just the mere adoption and use of an AI solution comes with challenges that, we are basically going to be tasked to look at safeguards to put in place. And then finally, we're going to try also and understand what does an AI adoption governance framework looks like. So, again, and specifically maybe for the compliance teams out there, it's very important that you make sure that all of those safeguards and all of these kind of guardrails and the understanding that you have of AI, the reasons why your company wants to adopt AI, what is the output that you want, how does all of this kind of fall into an overall governance framework? So no, this is kind of what we're going to go through. The one thing I will tell you is that it is such a broad and novel topic that I am definitely expecting everyone who will attend to pitch in, to share ideas, to challenge the current thinking, because it's tricky and it sometimes touches on quite sensitive topics. So I think the more, the better to tackle the topic. And with that, I'll thank you again, guys, for having me on this faculty, and I'll hand it over back to you, Shaq.